Welcome back. The Namibian Youth Chamber of Commerce, NYCE, in collaboration with the Namibia Chamber of Environment, is conducting the National Environmental and Socio-economic Priorities Survey. With 3 youth representatives in each of the 14 regions, the survey gathers grassroots perspectives on the country's most pressing issues to inform public dialogue and guide future policy and planning. Now, joining me to unpack this important initiative are Dr. Chris Brown, who is the CEO of the Namibian Chamber of Environment, and Ottilie Fillipus, the Secretary General of the Namibian Youth Chamber of Environment. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Namibia.
Good morning and thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Doctor, I must always say, each time when I come across you and I'm like, Dr. Chris Brown, I'm sure you get that all the time, right, for your name?
I do. I believe I have a younger brother from another mother somewhere who's into music, but yes, I'm into the environment.
I think that's a very good selling point. Now, what inspired the NYCE to start this survey? We'll start with you, Doctor. And why do you think it's important for young people to take a leading role in shaping national priorities?
Yeah. Well, I think Namibia, over the last 10, 12 years, has lost its way a little bit in some of the areas of development. You know, we're in a situation where our foreign investment has declined, investment coming into the country has declined. We have a crisis in terms of unemployment, 55% unemployment. Amongst the young Namibians, we are 61% unemployment. The people who create jobs, the employers, have declined in Namibia from 45,000 to only 15,000 in the last 8 or 9 years. So we have this real crisis in terms of development, particularly for the young people of the country. We also have some strange policies coming out around various environmental issues. For example, some of our climate policies, where we're putting emphasis on climate mitigation, in other words, reducing our contribution to greenhouse gases, when we really are not greenhouse gas producers at all. Namibia is still a net sump. And we should be putting all our efforts into providing the cheapest energy which we possibly can, and to adapt to climate change, adapt to the world heating up, which is not of our making. So we're putting some of our issues, our emphasis in the wrong sorts of places, and then some of the investments in some of the strange areas, green hydrogen and so on, which is starting to decline now, thankfully, and we can put our attention back to the important things of the country. So the young people of Namibia are our future. Many of us in the environment sector are getting a little bit old, and we really want to invest in and lift up young Namibians to take these challenges forward, to be really strategic in how they see Namibia and Namibia's development, and be strategic for Namibia, not follow Western sort of priorities, but follow Namibian priorities of what we need here to make this country successful. So supporting young Namibians, providing bursaries for young Namibians, is something that the Namibian Chamber of Environment takes very seriously.
Now over to you, Ms. Fillipus, speaking about inclusion and making sure that we do things that are applicable to our local context. For the regions, how is people from all 14 regions, including remote areas, how do they have the opportunity to share their views and participate in the survey?
Well, overall, we have 38 surveyors countrywide that were taken from our membership database. So these are now the youth ranging from all the way from 18 to 35 that are in communities. So what we did is we asked them where they will be based for the December holidays, and those that are back in their communities, those are the ones that we selected to then conduct the survey. Apart from that, we as executives are also very diverse. We come from different parts of the country, so we'll also be disseminating the survey and hoping people will do that. Alongside that, we also deployed it today at 6 a.m. on all our social media platforms as well as our website, so it's readily available, and we'll be sharing business cards among others and sending emails to all the relevant stakeholders as well as people that we feel will better inform the survey.
Now, Doctor, based on your experiences and interactions so far, which environmental, social and economic issues do you think will come out as most important to Namibians?
Right. Well, one doesn't want to preempt what people out there think, but I would expect that the number one issue will be employment. 55% unemployment, 61% amongst young Namibians. I mean, we're in a crisis situation. People don't appreciate just how bad this is. You know, at the height of the American Great Depression in the 1930s, that event is still seared on the psyche of the American people. At the height of that Great Depression, unemployment in America was 25%. We're on 55%. It's not just a bread and butter issue, it affects how children are raised, it affects health, it affects the very stability of our country. So, you know, we should be literally on a war footing to address this problem. So I think that will come out very highly as a direct impact on people across the country. But behind that, of course, is the economy which is causing that. So creating investment, foreign investment, creating opportunities for businesses, making our business environment conducive to people being successful, creating wealth and creating jobs. That needs to be a real focus of where we're moving forward. I think that will come out very strongly. And one of the things about unemployment is, from an environmental point of view, we see unemployment as also an environmental issue, because it puts pressure on the natural resources. People don't have options. If they don't have money in their pocket and they can choose, they don't have options. They've got to cut down the trees. They've got to poach the animals. They've got to do all of these sorts of things. So poverty and unemployment is very much as much of an environmental issue as it is a socioeconomic issue. I think improving our community-based programs, improving our understanding, and also from, again, being Namibian-centric, the most important issues that we face are issues around biodiversity. Making sure that our biodiversity is productive, it's contributing to people's livelihoods and welfare. We're using our biodiversity, our wildlife and other things, trees and so on, in ways which are helping and uplifting people, and not following sort of more of a Eurocentric approach and putting climate at the top of the list. For those countries that have caused the climate problem, fine, they can put it at the top of their list. But for Namibia, making sure that our biodiversity stays really productive and contributes to people's welfare is a real priority.
And so from what I gather, you're really placing emphasis to say we must apply things in our local context. Climate change, yes, it's important, but you're taken from your experiences, you say we've got other challenges that we also need to give equal attention to.
Absolutely. There's not much we can do about addressing the cause of climate change because we're not part of that. Our emphasis should be on addressing what we can do to adapt to climate change. The world is getting hotter, there's no doubt about that. But we haven't caused that. Now, we have to deal with that. So that's where our emphasis should be. And in dealing with it, we need to manage our biodiversity properly. We need to create wealth from our biodiversity and make the country's productivity better at all levels.
Now, Ms. Fillipus, obviously, when you are collecting surveys and so forth, it's very important to have accurate data. As they say, garbage in, garbage out. So you need to be able to ask the right questions. You need to be able to analyze the data that you get and make sure that you capture people's opinions accurately. How are you going to ensure this?
Well, we have deliberated over the questions for the past few months extensively, and we tried to simplify the language as much as possible, but without changing the context of that. Apart from that, we have also trained all our surveyors. We conducted 3 online training sessions, whereby we taught them and reiterated the purpose of the survey, and we made sure that they also understood that in such a way that when they are conducting the survey, they do not inform or rather kind of influence the respondents. Therefore, what is reflected in the survey should be the respondents' own thoughts. And that way it kind of ensures that everything happens accurately and we capture the data accurately. On top of that, we do have the offline and the offline feature of the surveyor system. So that means even if the surveyor is not there, you yourself can also conduct the survey. The questions are fairly simple. That means everyone across all the demographics, across all sectors, will be able to understand it properly. Now, when it came to data analysis, we are still deliberating to see how we'll do that depending on the magnitude and the severity of the data that we get. But so far, it's fairly simple. We have QRs all over, and we will be pasting posters today to make sure that everyone does get the survey and does it.
Now, looking ahead, as we're still on talking about data, once you've collected all the results, you've got all the data, how are you going to ensure that it's perhaps this is even an approach of science communication to make sure that it's going to be understood by the average person on the street and obviously at a later stage the policymakers and so forth. So just really how is it going to be disseminated in a way that it's easily digestible?
Well, the main thing, apart from the report, of course, we will be releasing a series of simple graphics depending on what will be taken out as the most important perspectives or the issues. And then that will be shared across all our social media platforms as well as our social media website.
Yes.
And then on top of that, we'll also then be sharing it with the newspapers. Hopefully, we'll also then get to come back to Good Morning Namibia, and then we talk about it again. But we will also be sharing it just a series of webinars as we normally do per month. And then we just, every month, a new issue, just to make sure that everyone gets it. And on top of that, if the person fills in the survey, there is a part that asks for an email to say that if you want the report, and then automatically it will be sent to you. Apart from that, we will also send it to all the relevant stakeholders and share it widely as much as possible.
Now, great. Dr. Chris Brown, I'm going to wrap up with you. In less than a minute, how will the results of this survey guide the Chamber's future programs, advocacy work, and efforts to continue representing young people's voices on national issues?
Yeah. Well, we're a very evidence-driven organization. We don't go in for ideology. We don't have things that we like or dislike. We look at every single item in its own context and decide whether it's a good project for Namibia or not. So the information coming out of people's perspectives on what the issues are around the country will really guide where our investment goes, how we support our members and the Youth Chamber to take projects and programs forward. And we can also design our fundraising around that to say, these are national priorities now. This is, the nation has spoken. This is what's clearly come out. We need to design our programs and activities around that. I'd just like to also commend the Namibian Youth Chamber of Environment. They're a group of very dynamic, very motivated and very smart young people who are taking this whole process forward. They've designed it very cleverly, very well, and I've got a huge amount of confidence in their abilities and their commitment to the long-term, short and long-term future of Namibia. So I've got every confidence that they will do this whole exercise extremely well, and we really look forward to the results that come out of it at the end.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.